What's happening, guys? It's Logan Robinson from BucsGameday.com. I'm here with our editor-in-chief, River Wells.
Pleasure.
Day 2 of mandatory minicamp for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've got a lot to talk about. Big plays were made. We're going to talk a little bit about Tristan Wirfs here. One rookie did not participate in practice. We've also got, like I said, some big-time plays coming from a handful of offensive and defensive players, including Jamel Dean, which we'll talk about.
Don't make a scene, guys.
Nope. But Jamel Dean, also to Jalen McMilan. So let's go and jump into things, ladies and gentlemen. So first off, quick notes. Tristan Wirfs was here, but was not participating still in that brace. So something we're going to continue to monitor.
We're probably going to continue to see him not participate until training camp. So that means that tomorrow he's probably also not going to be there. A lot of precautionary stuff going on because mandatory minicamp is important for a lot of guys to get the fundamentals down, but for some veterans like Wirfs, not as pressing. So he's been doing drills. He's been putting pressure on his leg. It seems like it's just a precautionary sort of thing, and I imagine he'll be back for training camp.
Yep. Another one here, Trey Palmer back participating. He was not yesterday, but he was in the rotation, so that's a good sign there for your wide receiver room. Benjamin Morrison, though, was not practicing, which is something that we'll have to look into tomorrow.
For sure.
Coming off of that injury that he had in his college career, and then we did see him, which was kind of surprising early on in OTAs, get into those team drills.
Yeah.
And he participated yesterday in day 1, but not today. Something to keep tabs on as we move forward.
For sure, and that's a little bit different from guys who are veterans like Wirfs and Levante David, because he had an injury in college, had surgery on his hip, was participating up to this point, and then was held out. So it could be a precautionary thing. At this time of year, you want to be really careful. You don't want to be too crazy with getting guys with injuries, or it could be something more. So we'll keep an eye on that one, and hopefully he's all right and ready for training camp. But it seems like Todd Bowles thinks that most of the guys here that are injured or banged out will be ready for that time period.
Yeah, nothing severe, it seems like, for all the guys. And for, we were just mentioning Tristan Wirfs, someone that I think, too, just a little dinged up coming from a lift or outdoor workout, something like that. But better to play it safe for one of the best tackles in all of football. I say we jump 11 on 11.
Why don't we do that?
I mean, that's
fun.
It is fun.
That's the spirit of camp.
And it's more fun when you have guys chirping and being loud like Anthony Walker.
Absolutely.
I think he's been a great addition to this team. We'll see how it looks like on the field. But nonetheless, though, the way, the kind of vibe that you get from him, the energy that you get.
And not to mention Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, guys, for those of you at home that don't know, big chirper. Believe it or not.
Yeah, true.
Going after a lot of his guys, having fun with him, and that energy is kind of prevailing across the building. He got on Jamel Dean today.
And let's start off with that play here. Like I was saying in the beginning, Jamel Dean had one of the top plays of today in minicamp. He had a pick 6
to the house.
Yeah, he took that to the crib. It was tipped off from Antoine Winfield.
Which Bucs fans are going to be happy to see him performing after his injury-ridden season last year. If he can stay healthy, could be another huge piece for the Buccaneers.
Yes, exactly. So tip ball from Antoine Winfield Jr. Beautiful, just like they try to practice in those drills. And sure enough, Jamel Dean, it plops right into his hands.
And he caught it.
He caught it, and he took it back for 6. But like we were just mentioning, Todd Bowles got onto him because he sat down in the end zone and looked tired.
He did. It's true. And he said, come on, one play. Got to get up there. Got to get back at it, guys. We're all conditioning out here. We're all conditioned.
Yeah.
It's hot, guys.
Todd was not too happy about that. But still, nonetheless, we move on here. I thought Rachaad White just now, we got to see when we talked to him, he lost that weight. He's down to 212. He played around that 223 range. So he's down at least 10 pounds. And who knows, he might be going down a little bit further. But just the way evaluating him and the way that he looked, how did he look to you? And the way that he moves, it seems to me he's able to be a little bit more shiftier, and he told us that yesterday as well.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more shifty, and that comes from the weight, but he wants to be able to continue to pass block at the level that he has, and he thinks he can do that at 212. So whole running back room is really trying to get together and be a three-headed Hydra here. You got Bucky Irving, who, of course, was fantastic last year.
Yep.
You got Rachaad, who's working on some things with his game, cutting his weight down here, and what could potentially be his last ride if you think he's not just into country music. And then you got Sean Tucker, who underutilized, really, last year perhaps, but a lot of mouths feed in that room, right? So they like all their guys that they have back there. They're all good at different things, and we'll see how the running back room progresses as we get into training camp.
We also heard from Haason Reddick after practice. We'll talk about that
We
here
did.
at the end of this video. But let's keep on going through 11 on 11. I thought Baker Mayfield started off the day nicely. There were some interceptions at the end of practices, which we'll talk about. Him and J-Mac were on a really nice rhythm. It kind of brought me back to how it looked last year during this time. OTAs, also too, mandatory minicamp.
We were all really high on Jalen McMilan at that point in time.
Those two were it just was quick chemistry. But I was going to say one of the grabs from J-Mac was on Tyke Smith deep. Great ball from Baker there. And then on another play, practically back-to-back over the middle to J-Mac. I was going to say, though, Kalijah Cansey was back there. I would think you count it as a sack, but it was still a really
Always tough at this time of year to figure out what isn't a sack when you're not in pads. It gets a little easier once you are. But and we can't touch the quarterback.
Luke Gedicke said some funny things, too, and we heard from him today, so we'll get to that at the end of the video, talking about not having pads off and how that pisses him off when you have the defensive guys like Anthony Walker.
He said they have a lot to grab. Yeah.
Yeah. Swassey Dennis had a really nice tackle for loss on Bucky Irving. I thought he was all over the place today, which is a really good sign.
For sure.
We saw Egbuka in stride make a really nice grab, and I was talking to you during that or after the play, sometimes you see wide receivers and they're in, full sprint. Sometimes you slow down, but also too depends on your quarterback who's throwing it. But Egbuka just goes in a stride, man. Yeah. And the way that he was running with that ball, or, when he caught it, that could have gone for 6, in my opinion, because there was a wide receiver making a block on a DB, and then all you had was a safety. And to me, I think Egbuka makes a play there for 6.
Yeah, I mean, definitely possible once you get him in stride like that. And, not a lot of top-end speed there from Egbuka, but he's super polished, great route runner, and he has really good acceleration.
Yeah.
So the Bucs want more explosive plays next year on offense. They mentioned that. They want to get those going where they didn't have those in Liam Cohen's offense. Mm-hmm. And with a guy like Emeka Egbuka, if you play his cards right and you put him in the lineup where he needs to be, he can do that for you. So if you can see more of that and him getting into space, kind of fulfilling that Godwin role right now, because Chris Godwin's not out here. He's still rehabbing his ankle injury.
Yeah.
But, man, there's a lot of potential there. I think the Bucs saw that in the pre-draft process, and they're willing to give him a lot of reps. He's getting a lot of good reps with Godwin not out there right now. Will prepare him really well for the season.
100%. Then going over to another J-Mac play, there was tight coverage from Zion McCollum, who also recorded an interception.
He did
today. But J-Mac, I would say overall, I thought he had one of the better days, at least responding to, because he did have some drops yesterday. Yeah. But some of these catches that he made, you could tell that he was going 105% to make those plays
for sure
be made.
I agree.
Anthony Nelson almost got an interception in the backfield. I thought that was pretty interesting. Baker almost got another interception.
Tough stretch there for Baker at the end. I think defense has ruled the day for the first 2 days, but we talked to Luke Gedicke after practice, and he mentioned defense is going to have the upper hand. I believe he said it's like trying to block in your underwear was his phrase.
Yeah, a lot more slippery.
Yeah, but, a little bit more to grab onto, a little bit harder for the offensive line to really dig their heels in and prevent a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. So defense has been ruling the day so far, but we'll see once we get into training camp, we get used to Josh Grizzard's offensive scheme, we get some plays under our belt, that might change.
It might. And then, one person, and you got to tell me if I'm saying the last name right, Parody?
I believe so. Roman
Parody had a pick 6 on 6, and for 6 is Baker Mayfield. So, yes, I know we're talking about a lot of interceptions here. A lot of the DBs, what you want to see. Todd Bowles wants to see that.
Of course, after the year they had last year.
Yes.
And it's just but it's good to see those fundamentals rooting themselves in early, especially when they've had trouble with that during OTAs and mandatory.
Yeah, but Roman Parody, really nice day. He had that pick 6 there, and then 2, there was a deep shot taken. I don't know who the quarterback was. Might have been Kyle Trask, but Parody had a PBU in the end zone, diving, swatted away the ball. So someone to keep an eye on, number 46, as we move forward. And then, just overall, like we just mentioned, heard from Luke Gedicke, who was always a great interview. He's looking forward to having the pads on. I'm looking forward to having the pads on. I know Todd Bowles is, but also Haason Reddick. What were your biggest takeaways from this interview? I mean, it started off right away addressing, hey, I know I wasn't at OTAs, but look at me. see how fast I am, how in shape I am. I think we can cool it with all of the drama.
He seemed pretty motivated to me, and he mentioned he had an interesting quote where he said a lot of times when people are talking about the goals of the self versus the team, that sometimes the goals of the self align with the team. Right? And he said, I've trained by myself in the off season way before I got here to Tampa Bay. It's nothing new for me here. He's here. He looks like he's in great shape. He says, I'm liking the Florida Heat. He's teaching guys like Yaya Diaby and Chris Braswell some things about pass rushing because of his veteran status. Remember, guys, from 2020 to 2023, 11 sacks or more in those 4 consecutive years. So that production is something that the Buccaneers are looking for. And it seems like he's ready to go. He mentioned he doesn't have a sack goal, though he'd like double digits. And, he was asked, how are you here to repair your reputation? And he said, well, I don't look at it like that. I'm here to just play football. I don't care what anyone thinks. And that's a good attitude to have. And he's shown up and he's played and he has not skipped or otherwise not done anything here. And I think it's a good sign for Bucs fans. He's pretty highly motivated to get it going. And he's got a lot to prove. When he tried to get that bag last year, didn't work out the way he hoped it would, and he's an opportunity to do that this year and stake his claim. I think either if he were to play great this year and sign with another team even, you're still getting a lot of good production of Haason Reddick in that scenario, and I think that's what he's looking for.
And he's got some revenge games, too.
He has 4. I believe every team he's played for, the Bucs are playing. You got the Carolina Panthers, you got the Arizona Cardinals, you got the New York Jets, and the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, where he's probably most known. All 4 of those teams are on the Bucs schedule this year, and he said, I can't lie, that was part of the reason I came to Tampa Bay, right? So that was fun.
I love it. And, the biggest thing to me that we've been seeing is the heavy communication with Yaya Diaby. A lot of these younger guys, he was saying Chris Braswell, who we also spoke to just a little bit ago, saying these guys are coming up to me asking questions. And also, too, he said, I've learned a little bit, too, and got some stuff from Yaya as well. But he talked very highly of Diaby. And I'll tell you what, Diaby, Kalijah, Logan Hall, Anthony Nelson, a lot of these guys on the defensive line, I will say, on a consistent basis so far, have looked really, really nice. And there's no pads on. No pads on. And
disclaimer.
That's major disclaimer. Put it down
major.
Below.
Yeah.
But that's something that I think you got to be excited for when you have a guy also, too, with a Vita Bea. The monster from the inside, like that. As Bucs fans, you've got to be stoked for that. But we go into day 3 tomorrow. The biggest thing I think so far of a positive is health. I know Tristan Wirfs is out. We'll have to continue to monitor Benjamin Morrison. Mike Evans was out here again today, of course, but wasn't fully doing teams and such. But that's a veteran guy, Lavonte David as well. So we'll continue to give you guys updates. We'll do another video tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, smack the like button down below. Over 200 likes in the last couple of videos. We deeply appreciate it.
We do, guys. Thank you guys for watching and following our content. We really appreciate it. It's how we do what we do.
Yep, it means a lot. Also, too, hit that subscribe button, too, if you're new and you want to get notified every time we release a new episode.
We're here at One Buck Place.
Absolutely.
There it is.
That'll do it for us. Me, River, One Buck. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Fire the cannons.